What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, we feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren. And today's episode, we, in honor of Veterans Day this coming weekend, are going to go ahead and talk the Howling Commandos from Marvel Comics. So strap in, get ready, and as always, find us Hops Geek News on all of your podcasting platforms, all of social media sites. That's our name. We are there. Join the Discord on November 18th. We will be doing our first ever watch along with all of our friends in the Discord channel, where we are going to get together and we're going to watch none other than Tenacious D or Tanakh in the Pick of Destiny. Yes, that is the agreed upon movie. We were just chatting in the Discord. It seems to get a lot of love. It's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. So we are going to do that. So make sure you go ahead and join our Discord. We will put that link here in the bio. Like I said, today's episode, Howling Commandos, and my beer is Black is Beautiful from Precarious Beer Project out of Williamsburg, Virginia. A short, quick 15-minute drive from my house. It is a hazy IPA coming in at 7%, as well as it's also the initiative, which was set up by Marcus Baskerville out of Weathered Souls Brewing. If you followed our show, we've talked to Marcus. I've gone down to the brewery. The brewery is amazing. Volume 1 was actually stouts. And of course, Black is Beautiful. It's, the Black Brewers Association, brewed in support of the National Black Brewers Association. Proceeds will go to the development and growth of black brewers nationwide. Now, this pretty much came out in hundreds, if not thousands, of breweries the first time, and they've decided to do a volume 2, which goes to a great cause. So, of course, I picked up that hazy IPA from Precarious, one of my favorite beer spots here in Virginia, of course. Wicked good beer. Lauren's going to be getting some. That's what I'm drinking. Lauren, what is in your glass?
I thought I was muted. I probably just made a bunch of noise. I got soup juice in my glass.
Wow.
Very excited. This is family business. This is Jensen Ackles Brewery. And the soup juice, of course, is in honor of the boys. And the soup is in green because his Soldier Boy costume is green. I'm assuming that's why. And I have it in my icon. Well, it's got green tones in it.
No, I think you're right. Maybe I'm just colorblind. Weird. In a weird way.
I do have a picture of him right here, too. And Cinema can do this all day glass. We're not really talking Cap, nor are we talking Soldier Boy. We're going to be talking Agent Fury and some Howling Commandos, but it all goes together. And, Soldier Boy is mocking Captain America, so to speak. And in his most recent appearance in Gen V, I swear to goodness, the music when he arrived was like that dun, 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 dun. Like I got that feel when he showed up. Yeah.
It's just you in your head and the excitement that you felt.
It might have been.
There was Christmas, but
probably a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, that's what I'm drinking. This is very similar, I think, to the Sun Juice I drank when I was at the brewery, which was one of my favorite beers there. So very happy that
has the semen of Jensen Ackles in it.
Here's hoping. No, that's gross. That went too far.
This is a kid show. Jesus Christ, man.
No.
Anyways, if this is your first time listening to the show, hopefully you didn't turn it off after that disgusting display of
I hope you did if you have kids in the room.
And we like to go into what we've messed up on the week before. We talk about what we have been reading or watching. And then, of course, we give you the news followed up with our main topic. And we are perfect little peaches. And there's nothing that we have messed up on. And there's nothing that we have to look into. So going into what we've been reading or watching, I this week read Blood Commandment from Image Comics. It's a very horror-esque, if you're still looking to get your horror type comics in. I read it for Nerd Initiative. I reviewed it. My review is up on nerdinitiative.com. And yeah, no, it's very good. Simon Kradunsky did the art and he did the writing. And it's basically a father and his son living in isolation who can tell something is off. And lo and behold, old daddy boy Ezra is indeed a vampire, and there is something more sinister at play. Go ahead, get your hands on that. Now, when we're recording this, Halloween was last night, so of course I watched Halloween 1978. And aside from that, I have been playing Spider-Man like it's my damn job. I have not beat the game yet because I am purposely putting off the final mission because I just don't want it to end. I'm having so much fun with this game. Kraven the Hunter, they like reinvented this character, and I think he's going to be like another popular character. I wouldn't be surprised to see some comic books coming out because he's very brutal in this game. He's very raw. It's very, very good. make sure you get your hands on this game. If you haven't, it's on PS5. I know, but allegedly Sony has solved the shortage of PlayStations. So it's going to be out there again. I don't know. I haven't watched or read anything else. Lauren, what about you?
So the comic I reviewed this week was The Midnight Show. I'm really loving that comic. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, I was big on like, it's Halloween, go and read it. But it doesn't need to be Halloween to celebrate monsters. It doesn't take place specifically on Halloween. It's by Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt. And it's basically a kind of, it's a monsters come to life. They come through, they break through the screen in a Blazing Saddles kind of way, and they start attacking the people who are legitimate horror fans. So you instantly go into the, well, I'm a horror fan. I know how to fight all these monsters. Would I actually survive this though? 100%, because we're all like so cocky. I don't know if you've seen, I saw a couple of videos this Halloween of somebody dressed as Michael Myers, and he literally just walked to the front door and everybody takes turns trying to unlock the door.
Seen that. Yep, I did.
It's so funny because most of the people are dead.
They are.
And, everybody's like, just get the key in there when you're watching the movie and don't go upstairs. And
you're just like talking shit. It's like, why would you go into this dark room? Why would you do X? Why would you do, all these other things? And then you go ahead and get put in these scenarios. You're like, no, I'm definitely dead. I'm stupid. I don't know what's going on.
So I feel like that's the mentality of like the main characters, because they were all there for a horror movie.
Yeah.
That kind of came to life. And then there's a very familiar person who shows up at the end, and he's familiar in more ways than one. It's only 2 issues in. It's a lot of fun. The artwork's a lot of fun too, because, you've got the old school like Dracula, and then it's like a new age more, this is colorful, and there's an influencer and she's being annoying. But is she worse than the werepire that just rips somebody's face off? I don't know. You tell me.
You just got to read it, man. You just got to read it.
You got to read it. I watched The Fall of the House of Usher. I really liked it.
Did you? You finished it?
I finished it. Yes.
Oh,
I was a little hungover Sunday, so I finished it Sunday.
I went to Busch Gardens Sunday, actually. Oh, I'll get to that in a minute. Actually, go ahead.
I did have to go to Logan's basketball game, and then I ended up selling it. But no, we did a proper drinking around the world on Friday. That was fun. Did an adult Halloween costume Saturday or party. But yeah, so Sunday I watched that. Mark Hamill is the lawyer in it. It is my second favorite Mike Flanagan Netflix show. Obviously,
Hill House still being the one.
100%. Yeah, I think it's
got glowing reviews. There's only 5-6 episodes.
I think there's 8.
8, man, I was way off. I do need to watch it. We've been busy, so I am gonna wrap it up in that weird time of November where you're not quite ready for Christmas movies. You're slowly getting there, so you got some downtime. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish it, knock it out. I did do Halloween Spooktacular at Busch Gardens on Sunday. I did forget that. It was, Busch Gardens is cool. It's obviously no
Spooktacular though, isn't that more kiddie?
It is, and they do that
at SeaWorld too.
It was actually SeaWorld owns Busch Gardens, and so. Right. It was cool. Like they have a little Sesame Street park where there's like a little roller coaster, and there's only like 4 rides. Pad. Yeah, it kind of sucks because there's only 4 rides for kids in this big park, like that part. So it is, but the kids had fun. And one thing that I actually really liked was they did a trick or treat trail, and so I thought that was really cool. And now they're in the process of changing it over to Christmas Town, which we're going to go to this coming weekend.
Oh, and they own the rights to Rudolph and Bumble and stuff.
Yeah, we're going. So my parents are coming into town Veterans Day weekend, this coming weekend. And so we're all going to go to Christmas Town probably. So I'll have some things to talk about there. If you're interested in Busch Gardens we
might need to do, Christmas theme park.
Yeah, I'm going to have some video out and we'll be talking about it. So let's roll into some news. Of course, to nobody's surprise, The Bear has been renewed for a season 3. Big surprise there. We are on the cusp. Hopefully by this time next week, we have a deal in place. We will see. And by this time next week, I mean that when this episode is airing, there's a deal in place because they are on the cusp of greatness, allegedly. And of course, Good Burger #2 releases on Paramount Plus November 22nd. It's probably not going to capture the magic of the first one, but I don't care because my nostalgia glasses, put down, full on nostalgia, rose tinted glasses. I am going to watch the shit out of this movie. I'm going to have fun. Keenan and Kel are back. It's one of just when I think Keenan and Kel, I was watching Halloween Town actually last night, and those like just old school Disney movies and Nickelodeon movies, I always have a fondness for because they remind me of my grandparents' house when I was growing up. We'd go there for the summer. We'd be in the pool all day while all the adults, are drinking and doing the things that I do now. I would go into the room and I would just watch Disney Channel original movies. And there's something comforting about that. So I'm going to be there. Mondo Burger back, baby. I don't know if they are or not. And then my last bit of news is Disney is actually buying all of Hulu for $8.61 billion. Crazy stuff.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's. I wish they can give me $5. I'll take $10,000. That's a drop in the bucket. But what do you got for news?
So Treehouse Brewing is opening another location in 2024 in Saratoga Springs, New York. So if you haven't been to one of their breweries, highly
Famous
recommend
battle
it.
took place there. Revolutionary War was a whole big thing.
Well, now you can go there, and I bet it'll be gorgeous because I think all their breweries are.
Oh, I mean,
you can go there and
it's going to be beautiful, especially this time of year.
There you go. Keith David is going to be at MegaCon. He's in a bunch of stuff, and he does a bunch of voice acting, including Dr. Facilier, the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog. I'm actually on his IMDb page right now, and it's just never ending. He plays T'Chaka or voices T'Chaka in something.
You know,
he's all over the place.
Since you talked about the saxophone guy in Lost Boys, I have seen that meme nonstop. And so every time I see it, I feel the need to send it to you because it's like, well, how is this guy haunting my dreams? He literally does not stop popping up on my freaking pages now.
And he's in Lost Boys for like 5 seconds.
I know.
And it's so funny, that picture. Carl Urban, this is a rumor, and I'm only sharing it because I would love to hear other people's opinions. And I actually didn't hate this. There's rumors that he's going to be a Wolverine variant in Deadpool. And now he is in Thor, but I feel like Carl Urban looks very different in the roles he plays. I don't see any problem. And if he's a variant, he's from another universe, whatever. But this is the first time an idea that wasn't Jackman for Wolverine didn't like make me be like, no. I am okay with Carl Urban.
I just think you have like this passionate love for the boys universe and anything that is close to it, because then maybe it opens the door for Jensen Ackles to be a superhero.
Maybe subconsciously. No, I've enjoyed Carl Urban and everything he's in. He always plays such a different person in things. His Billy Butcher is probably hands down my favorite, but I loved him in Ragnarok.
Dredd,
Loved him in Star
he
Trek.
Was excellent in Dredd.
I did not see Judge Dredd, adding it to my list as you spit your beer out.
It's a really good movie, and it's a crime that movie never got a sequel. Just saying, like there was talks of a TV show and a sequel that never came to fruition.
Josh was watching it recently.
It's a crime. It's good. It's got Laura Headley, Circe. She's in it.
Okay, yeah.
It's super good, and he plays in Dredd's a comic book, and it's so good. It's so good.
No, I mean, if this movie ever actually gets made, I'm excited for this, but it's like how many cameos? And again, these are rumors. I'm really just putting it out there because I want to hear other people's thoughts, because I honestly didn't hate that idea. And he would be a variant. And,
it's not a full-time thing. No.
Right. I still think we need Dakin or Laura to really take over the mantle once Hugh Jackman officially retires.
Just deal with it. You're getting a brand new Logan.
Obviously, my last piece of news isn't really news because I feel like everybody has heard it at this point.
This is a big one. It's in memory.
Oh, it's definitely a big one, but it's not breaking here by any means. But as I know this is not a show that really talks about Friends, but this was my Supernatural before Supernatural. I don't think I was obsessed with it on the level I am with Supernatural, but this was my comfort show for years. This was my go-to show. Still own every single Ross DVD.
Posters up, and you weren't just fantasizing about Ross, or
no, the girls were all way cuter than the boys. None of the boys did it for me. Plus, I started watching the show when I was 11. Man.
She was a fox in those movies or shows.
Yeah,
like, this was the height of Courtney Cox's fame. Honestly, like.
For all of them, right? I think Jennifer Aniston did it more for me than
the only
Cox.
one that went on out of the three of them to do more stuff. Like she's obviously
out of the 6 of them.
Yeah, well,
she's the only one that really had big movies. Yeah,
Matt LeBlanc didn't do a whole lot. He did stuff.
Episodes is good.
Yeah,
the show on. I know you didn't, so I figured you didn't watch Episodes either. But Matt LeBlanc had a series on Showtime that was actually really funny, and he plays himself. And so he's constantly like making fun of his like Joey character kind of, and everybody will be like, oh, just call one of the friends, go ahead. And all the friends are like, why are you calling me? Or like, what are you doing? Like, it's funny. And they all make an appearance throughout the show. If you're a Friends fan, definitely watch Episodes. But I definitely wanted to, pour one out for Chandler Bing or Matthew Perry. He put out a book last year, and I guess there was a lot of foreshadowing as to this.
Well, he struggled with oh God, I can't.
And pill addiction and not just addiction in general. Yeah.
It's sad because, there's a lot of things that were coming out, and it was basically like how he wants to be remembered for how he helped people. And if, by all accounts, aside from his weird beef with Keanu Reeves, which was a weird thing for a little bit.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Apparently he took shots at Keanu Reeves for some reason, but
he was probably trying to be funny.
Well, that, or like, again, he was in a very dark place. Like, this is a guy who struggled with addiction. He was only 54 and, he tragically passed away, and he really was in a lot of things, and he meant a lot to so many people. Friends is just that timeless, never ending
It was on
TV
for 10
show
years.
that it's transcended.
Prime
right?
time, yeah.
It's kind of one of the reasons I got like collective bargaining agreements too. Like, not for nothing. Like, if it wasn't for that show and how the cast got
together and we're like, we're all going to get paid the same.
Then you would not see that to the level that you do in some cases today. So he's a staple in homes for adults, for millennials. I mean, even the younger people, because it's on like Nick at Night, for example. That's the one show that's always
when it ended up on Nick at Night, it made me feel so old.
Well, right, because I used to grow up, Nick at Night used to be Fresh Prince and stuff, and then it turned to Friends.
No, Fresh Prince was not on Nick at Night when I was little. When I was little, Nick at Night was black and
Nick
white.
At Night would be like I Love Lucy and stuff, and then it turned into like
Bewitched, Get Smart.
Then it turned into now it's Friends.
Roseanne.
I mean, Friends ever. I went to Central Perk Cafe at the WB tour. That was really cool. And it's like a very big thing for people. So he meant a lot to a lot of people, and he did a lot of really good stuff. And it sucks. Yeah. 54. Jesus.
It's young.
That's not old at all, especially in the year of 2023. So,
and if you watched Friends, you saw the last episode of season 7 when he proposes to Monica. He looks a little bit bigger. And then the first episode of season 8, or no, it's switched. No, it's not switched. Then he's really skinny. I can't remember what it was. He like dropped or gained weight like majorly between. And he's wearing the same clothes.
There was there was a period where he was really puffed up, but that was due to his addiction and stuff. And
that's what it was. And all of a sudden he dropped the weight. Yeah.
Yeah. It's dark, and it can take place. I know we drink beer and stuff on this shows, but seriously, like, it can take you to some dark places, and it sucks that somebody, anybody deals with something like that. And it's not glorious. There's nothing glorious about that kind of problem. And if you're somebody who needs to get help, hopefully you do. And kind of leave you with that on the pivot from a more sad note, and let's go into a more happy note. Our main topic, the Howling Commandos. We will be back in just a moment. All right, we are back. The Howling Commandos from Marvel Comics. They have been in all sorts of comic books, supporting cast for Nick Fury, for Captain America. Most recently, they are a part of Cap Wolf, which is written by Stephanie Phillips, and a short description of the Howling Commandos. This comes from the book Marvel Absolutely Everything You Need to Know. The Howling Commandos are a bunch of misfit but brave World War II soldiers. Sergeant Nick Fury leads them against Axis villains such as Red Skull and Baron von Strucker. They also often team up with Captain America and Bucky.
Bucky Barnes.
Yes. Now, the Howling Commandos first appeared in the comic Sergeant Fury in his Howling Commandos issue number 1, which released in March of 1963. They were created by the OGs, of course, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby designed the characters and drew the first 7 issues, while Stan the Man gave them all the witty dialogue that you grew up knowing. Stan is the one that convinced Martin Goodman that another war comic was a good idea. And of course, he needed to convince him because war comics weren't doing the best at the time, kind of when comics were coming up in the 60s. Vietnam, we just got out of the Korean War. Like, people were just kind of war fatigued at this point. There wasn't a whole lot of love,
which is reasonable.
Absolutely. God. And so while this did come out in the 60s, it takes place during World War II. So this was 22 years after Captain America's first appearance. Why don't you go ahead and tell us who the top 6 Howling Commandos include?
So they include Dum Dum Dugan, which is the circus strongman. Now, Dum Dum becomes a SHIELD agent later, and after his death, he's reborn a life model decoy. And much like Coulson in Agents of SHIELD, he is not too happy when he finds this out. Dum Dum is the guy in the boiler hat, which kind of makes sense with the circus thingy. You can picture the boiler hat and he was played by Neil McDonough in the movie. He also plays Damien Dark in the Arrowverse. The actor played this character in Captain America: First Avenger and in Peggy Carter. He also voices him in What If. In the comic books, he later joins Fury as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. The next one is Izzy Cohen, car mechanic. He was not in the movie. He was just in the first issue of the comic book. Well, and after the first issue too. And then there's Gabe Jones. He was a jazz trumpeter played by Derek Luke in the in the movie. He was an accomplished jazz trumpeter at an early age, and Gabriel grew up in New York and spent a bunch of his youth playing his Uncle Bill's Jazz Club in Upper Manhattan. And he was such a big deal that he received coaching from none other than Louis Armstrong himself.
What?
Kind of a big deal. Despite segregation in the armed forces, Jones found himself handpicked by Captain Happy Sam Sawyer, which we'll get to him in a little bit. Then we have Jonathan Juniper. This was another original one in the comics, not in the movie. He's considered an eager beaver or an Ivy League college graduate. Then we have Dino Manelli, another one in the comics, not in the movie. Dashing actor with a matinee model looks. And then we have Rebel Ralston. He was a skilled horseback rider, also not in the movie, but in the comic. So some of the ones that were in the movie that were not the original OG6 in the comic books are Jim Morita. We met him in the movie, but he did not show up until issue 38 of the comic. He was a prisoner of war, and then he joined the Commandos. The actor Kenneth Choi actually played Principal Morita in Spider-Man Homecoming, and we see a picture of his.
Yeah, he does. It's so cool.
That is a fun little Easter egg that I did not notice on my own. I did not pick that up, but I don't know if it's his. Guess it's got to be his grandpa in the background.
It's got to be grandpa, something like that. Of course, yeah. Even though they just happen to look the exact same.
I know. I always love when they do that.
The callback, man. It's still fun, yeah.
Well, you're a spitting image of your grandmother. That's because I time traveled here. It's me.
You look just like your father. Dun, dun, dun.
That's usually not a compliment if you're a girl. So in the comics, he's Japanese. In the movie, though, this is the funny one where the Dum Dum Dugan goes, "Oh, so we rescuing everyone now?" And he goes, "I'm from Fresno, Ace."
Yes. Because a lot of people don't realize in World War II, like there was Japanese internment camps within America because like we put our own Japanese American citizens in there. That's how messed up we were. So,
well, yeah, there's a lot of
things
Japanese
like that
discrimination. Yeah. So another one that was in the movie that didn't show up till later was Jacques Frenchy Denier. He was played by Bruno Ricci, and he did not show up until issue 21 of this comic. Side note, maybe I am a little too obsessed with the boys. I really hope that this is inspiration for Frenchie and the boys. However, there is another Frenchie in Moon Knight. If you remember, like his go-to like pilot guy or something was named Frenchie. So, and obviously those comics are making fun of other comics. So it could be a nod to them. So this Frenchie, however, he was a high up there guy in the French underground, and he was big on the D-Day operations that trapped some high-ranking Nazis. So he did a lot of good stuff. And later that same night on that mission, he led a team to rescue the Howlers from capture by somebody.
All right. The SS.
Oh, and then we have James Montgomery Falsworth. You want to talk about him and give us a little bit of info on Sonya, who we all love?
We did meet Agent Sonya Falsworth in Secret Invasion. However, yes, she was the best part of it. Let's just put that out the way right now. Secret Invasion was not a good show to us.
No, but she was amazing. This one, James Montgomery Falsworth, though, is in the comics, but he's not a commando, but he was a commando in the movie.
Yes. So she's not a comic book character. She shares the last name with James Montgomery Falsworth, a.k.a. the Union Jack, played by J.J. Field. He was the one with the red beret and mustache. Now, Sonya and James are also both British. She's most likely a descendant of a Howling Commando, I would like to imagine. Roy Thomas.
I don't know why they did not confirm this in the show.
It's probably one of those things they just have like a tip your hat and nod to kind of deals. They don't need to explain literally everything. Like, oh, it's Falsworth. Turn to the camera, wink.
I would love that. And I hope when Deadpool shows up, he does it.
I hope they do like, hey, wait a second. And that would be hilarious.
Wait, you have the same name as that guy from Captain America First Avenger.
Now, Roy Thomas and Frank Robbins introduced the original Union Jack, James Montgomery Falsworth, who was a retired country squire in The Invaders, issues number 7 through 9, which came out in July through October of 1976. In the story flashbacks, show him in action in World War I as part of Freedom's Five and battling the original Baron Blood, later to be revealed as his own brother. Now, it looks like the Commandos were actually allies of his, but he was not one of them in the comics. Of course, there were others. However, these were like the main ones they used for movies or go-tos. In the comics, when a case was sometimes a little too weird for S.H.I.E.L.D., they would use the Howling Commandos with Dum Dum as the life model decoy. They've worked with the Man-Thing, who we saw in Werewolf by Night, a.k.a. Ted. The Hit Monkey. By the way, I watched this in color recently because it just came out in color. Way better. Way more.
Really? I put it on Halloween and I took it off because I was like, this is a little gory in black and white.
Exactly.
It's probably worse if there's a kid
gory.
coming up.
It was way more gory and it was really cool. I liked it. And I forgot how much I really loved Werewolf by Night. But anyways, we also saw Vampire by Night, Teen Abomination, Werewolf, and more. Some of the odd cases that they would get would include plant zombies and dark magic. Now, Baron von Strucker put a group of Nazis together that were basically the evil equivalent of the Howling Commandos. He would end up regularly battling Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. when he took over Hydra. And enter Captain America, who was introduced to the Commandos in issue number 13. It was an untold story about World War II that also featured Bucky Barnes. In this story, Cap, Bucky, Fury, and the Commandos snuck into occupied Europe to destroy a giant tunnel under the English Channel that the Nazis were building to invade Britain. In issue 27, they actually explain why future Fury, because he was also in the present day S.H.I.E.L.D. comics at the time, had an eye patch. No, Goose didn't actually, scratch him in the comics. However, he actually got it from some Nazis. A grenade exploded and damaged his eye. There was a procedure to fix it. However, he chose not to because that would have put him out of commission. And, Fury was not raised by no punk bitch. And him and the Commandos had a job to finish. However, whatever helped save his life also made him age slower. The actual origin of the Commandos happens in issue number 34 when Sam Sawyer noticed them. They were in England under the command of Captain Happy Sam Sawyer, who regularly assigns them on missions that were considered impossible and or suicidal. Happy Sam makes it a cameo in Agent Carter. He's played by Leonard Roberts, who, 4 Degrees of Supernatural, folks, was Nam Ick in Smallville, which Jensen Ackles was on.
We need like a soundbite, like the
get like the after the intro title card. This comic continued until issue 167 in 1980.
Long run.
That was a long run. Wow. For a comic book, yeah, that's a long run. For 167 issues, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about this first group of Howling Commandos that made their way in the 1963 book?
So it was an elite unit of the United States Army Rangers formed in World War II. The original team consisted of Sergeant Nicholas Joseph, quote, Nick, end quote, Fury, but nobody calls him Nick, and nobody calls him Nicholas. They only call him Fury. Even his own mother calls him Fury. Then we have Corporal Timothy Alasius, called Wallader Dum Dum Dugan, who we mentioned before, Private Isidore Izzy Cohen, Private Gabriel Jones, Private Dino Mandelli, Private Robert Rebel Ralston, Private Jonathan Jr. Juniper, Private Percival Pinky Pinkerton. Is it a requirement to have a nickname if you're in the military?
Mostly it's pilots that get cool nicknames. The rest of us peasants just get nothing but sadness.
I was hoping you were going to have a fun nickname I didn't know about.
I'm sure I do. It just is behind
your back.
So if any of my friends from work, because work has actually discovered my podcast, if you guys have a nickname for me, you can just say it to my face, man.
All right. Then we got Private Eric Kuhne, who is a defector from Nazi Germany. Good for him. He joined the squad in issue 27, and then Private Jim Marito and Private Jacques Frenchy Denier. So we talked a little bit about each of them. So that was what is considered the original group of commandos. Yes. So occasionally other members would join for an issue or two before being killed, transferred, or otherwise leaving, such as Fred Jones in issue 81. We call them cannon fodder. Also, daringly for the time, the series killed Fury's girlfriend, British nurse Pamela Howley. She was introduced in number 4, and she was killed in a London air raid in 18. When I saw that, I looked up. I was like, wait, what was Fury's wife's name in Secret Invasion? It's not Pamela.
Nobody remembers. Okay. Now, some other iterations of the Howling Commandos. We have a second Howling Commandos team that was introduced in 2005, and they were a supernatural unit that worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., included Warwolf, Clay Quartermain, who was the commanding officer of Area 13. Then we have Nina Prince, who's Vampire by Night, Ninkantu, the Living Mummy, Frankenstein, Gorilla Man, and John Doe, who John Doe is actually a zombie depicted as having normal level human intelligence. Then we have Secret Invasion, which is the third iteration that was introduced in Mighty Avengers number 13. And after discovering the Skrull invasion, Nick Fury assembles a team made of the offspring of various superheroes and supervillains. We get Quake, Phobos, Druid, Yo-Yo, Hellfire, and Stonewall. And
I would love to see Yo-Yo and Quake.
I want to get really weird. I really hope we get like a dark, weird version, and like Fury, maybe like I would love to see a version of Sam Jackson's Nick Fury interacting with Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night, like, and maybe Elsa Bloodstone or however it works. Could just get really
he'd
weird.
Be rolling his eyes at them.
It would be funny. It would be great.
Yeah. I mean,
All
that's what we
right.
deserve. They're all connected.
I'm telling you, really, I mean,
Connected.
realistically,
We've gotten too many side stories lately. They need
agreed. Back to formula, as Norman
pull it
Osborn would
together.
say. Now, in Dark Reign, it's Secret Warriors number 4 and 5, as seen during the Dark Reign storyline. It's actually revealed that 1,200 SHIELD agents refused to join Hammer following Norman Osborn's rise to power. Now, under the leadership of Dum Dum Dugan and Gabe Jones, they became a private military company hired by Nick Fury to fight against Hammer and Hydra. Now they are a Black Ops version. There is a Black Ops version of the Howling Commandos that is ordered to apprehend the Punisher after he relocates to Los Angeles. And then we also have Phil Coulson's Howling Commandos. Phil Coulson later informed his version of the Howling Commandos to combat Dormammu's mindless plague. Now we get Frankenstein. We get Man-Thing.
You didn't want to just bargain with him?
I guess not, because he brought Man-Thing, Frankenstein, Ninkantu, and Zombie. And last but not least, we have the Howling Commandos of S.H.I.E.L.D., a new team of Howling Commandos under the command of Stake were part of all different Marvel, led by the life model decoy of Dum Dum Dugan. Dum Dum Dugan just sounds like a wrestler. Like, that's all I hear is like, and now introducing first out of Iowa, Dum Dum Dugan.
I feel like that's what they're going for. And it's not spelled dumb with a B. It's like the lollipop.
DUMM. Like, it's a lollipop. So this is another like Howling Commandos. It included Jasper Sitwell in zombie form, Vampire by Night, Man-Thing, Amphibian, Orgo, Teen Abomination, and Hitmonkey. Now, we had a Hitmonkey show. Disney's buying Hulu. Give me Man-Thing, give me Hitmonkey on the Howling Commandos. I would watch this TV show. Like, if Marvel's going to do any TV show, I would love to watch a Howling Commandos TV show, for real.
That would be good. See, if they had kept Peggy Carter on, maybe they could have integrated the Howling Commandos.
Yeah. Now, fun fact, there was a Mrs. Deadpool in the Howling Commandos at one point during the Secret War storyline. There was a variation of the Howling Commandos that resided in Battle World in the domain of Monster Metropolis, which is located beneath the Kingdom of Manhattan. It consisted of Frankenstein's monster, Invisible Man, Man-Thing.
Oh, Monstropolis?
Yeah.
Well, that's a ripoff of Monsters Inc. ripped them off.
Marcus the Centaur, Ninkantu the Living Mummy, and Werewolf by Night were also in them. And then, of course, we've already kind of talked about the MCU version. So this was your Veterans Day episode, if you will, in America. If not, guess what? You got to do a little deep dive into the Howling Commandos, which, again, if I was somebody wanting to create a TV show, I would legit have so much fun. If you wanted to maybe bring back Phil Coulson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
my God, please
have him put together the Howling Commandos under Nick Fury's guidance from, Sword, and be like, hey, there's some weird stuff going on. Let's get Werewolf by Night. Let's get Ted. Let's go into the weird parts of the MCU, because we haven't seen that done yet. And
everyone could start. We have an 084.
Yeah.
We have to go investigate this. And
it would be fun, man. Let's get into the supernatural side of things. Let's do it.
If Dean and Sam come in, I mean, they could be recruited.
That's true.
Maybe they start the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Supernatural Division.
Yeah, maybe they like show up in an alternate, like we got the Scooby-Doo crossover. Maybe they show up and they start, the Howling Commandos, modern day.
It's like the Agents of Letters, like the Men of Letters. I'll work on the title.
Yes, Supernatural Men in Tights. There you go.
Tights. That's a movie we should do on our Discord one night. I haven't watched that movie in forever. Either.
Maybe that's our next one afterwards. We're going to be doing monthly show movies. And I think that'd be obviously not December. We got to do a Christmas movie, but that would
anything
be fun.
but Jingle All the Way.
Hallmark Christmas movies. You're right.
Oh, fuck me.
You said anything but Jingle All the Way. You are absolutely
I immediately
correct.
regret this decision.
You can't have it your way. We'll put up to a vote.
Only this is Burger King.
Yes, unfortunately, it's not. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We hope to see you next week, where we have another really great episode that I don't know what it is off the top of my head. What is it?
If the strike ends, we'll talk the Marvels.
What? Because the Marvels releases this week. It's exciting.
If the strike doesn't, maybe we'll do some Photon origin. But this was like our pseudo deep dive into the Howling Commandos. If you guys want to hear more, there's a hell of a lot more. This series went on for a long time. If you want to know more
to dive into, like we can talk for hours and do like an entire mini series on the Howling Commandos.
Right. Sure. But next week, it'll possibly be Origin on Photon, or maybe it'll be a Marvels review. Who knows?
Let's hope the strike's over, because we're hoping to do some Marvels action. We'll let you guys know. Hang out with us. follow us, Hops Geek News, join the Facebook group, join the Twitter group, join the Instagram group, join us everywhere, but mainly join Discord because we have a lot of fun in there. We have a really great group. Shout out to Stacy, Patrick. Shout out to DT from Space Castle. Shout out to my man Riley, who is for some reason watching movies at 4 a.m. And then, of course, shout out to Micah, who does laundry at 3 a.m. Like, you guys need therapy. Maybe.
I love Micah. He's so funny.
Micah just pops in. It's funny. We have a good time.
I love when someone's like, "What are you doing awake at 3 a.m.? Laundry."
That's a sneak peek into what goes on. Hang out with us. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for being here, and cheers.